Picture this. Okay. It is, it's 3:00 a.m. in Silicon Valley. We're talking early 2026.
Right. Prime time for tech workers.
Exactly. So a highly paid senior software engineer is just fast asleep in their bed. But, and this is the crazy part, their laptop is sitting open on the desk. Fans are just screaming. The screen is glowing in the dark, and it is furiously burning through literally millions of AI-generated words.
Millions of tokens. Yeah, every single hour.
Right, tokens every single hour. And the truly wild part of this whole scenario, those tokens, they aren't being consumed to, like, build a new feature or optimize a database or actually improve a product.
No, not at all.
They are being burned for one specific reason, so that when this engineer walks into the office at 9:00 a.m., they look incredibly busy to their boss.
I mean, it sounds like a complete dystopian parody of corporate culture.
It really does. It sounds like a joke.
But it's not. It has become a fundamental documented reality of the modern tech workplace. We are currently watching human value being actively, literally equated with sheer brute force computational waste.
Which is just wild. Welcome to this deep dive, everyone. Today, our mission is to explore a massive, paradigm-shifting phenomenon that is completely rewiring the knowledge economy from the inside out.
Yeah, it's an incredibly aggressive trend.
Right, an aggressive trend known as tokenmaxxing. Now, for you listening, we are looking at a huge stack of industry and corporate research reports from early 2026.
We're synthesizing internal data from the New York Times, TechCrunch, VentureBeat, and Robonomics.
Exactly. We are going to examine the mechanics of how we got here, the absolute breaking point this is causing for both corporate budgets and, frankly, human psychology.
Oh, the psychological toll is massive.
Huge. And we'll look at how the smartest organizations are desperately trying to fix it. Okay, let's unpack this. Why on earth are highly paid tech workers treating an enterprise API billing system like an arcade video game high score?
Well, to understand the motivation, you really need to look at the environment these engineers are currently operating in.
The culture of the workplace, basically.
Right. So the term tokenmaxxing, it was actually coined by Kevin Roose in the New York Times back in March of 2026.
Okay, and how did he define it?
He defined tokenmaxxing as the deliberate, calculated practice of an employee maximizing their personal AI token consumption.
Just burning compute for the sake of burning compute.
Exactly. The objective has entirely decoupled from solving problems efficiently. The objective is purely signaling.
Signaling to management, you mean?
Yeah, it's a way to broadcast to upper management that, hey, you are hardworking, you are cutting edge, and most importantly, you are totally bought into the company's AI-first mandate.
And when you said arcade video game high score earlier, looking at the sources, that isn't even a metaphor.
No, it is quite literal.
The reports outline how elite companies, we're talking Meta, Shopify, OpenAI itself, have literally implemented internal token leaderboards.
Which is just, I mean, it's mind-blowing.
It is. Employees can log on to the company intranet and see a real-time ranking of who is burning the most compute. And OpenAI even took it a step further.
They really did.
They started handing out physical Olympic-style medals for this. You get a silver medal for burning 10 billion tokens.
A black medal for 100 billion.
And a blue medal if you hit 1 trillion tokens. 1 trillion.
Yeah, the internal case studies reveal some pretty staggering behavioral shifts as a result of these leaderboards. Like, there is a documented case of a single OpenAI engineer burning 210 billion tokens in 1 week.
Wait, hold on. Let me just put that specific number in perspective for you, the listener. 210 billion tokens. That is the equivalent of processing the text of the entire English Wikipedia.
Which is massive.
Huge. Processing all of English Wikipedia 33 times over in 7 days.
It's unfathomable. Or consider the Anthropic user highlighted in the VentureBeat data. This user racked up a $150,000 monthly bill strictly using Claude Code on individual projects.
$150,000 for one person.
For one person. The cultural gravity has shifted so dramatically that if you aren't consuming a massive, highly visible amount of AI compute, you are viewed by leadership as a dinosaur.
Like you're dragging your feet on the future.
Right. You become a prime target for the next round of layoffs.
It's completely backward, though. It's like, okay, imagine measuring a logistics company's efficiency by how many gallons of diesel their delivery drivers can burn in a single day.
Right, rather than how many packages they deliver.
Exactly. You're standing there in the parking lot with a clipboard, praising a driver, saying, hey, you burned 50 gallons of gas today.
Yeah.
Just sitting here revving your engine in neutral, incredible work.
You're getting a promotion.
Yeah. And then you look at the guy who delivered 50 boxes but only burned 2 gallons of gas, and you call him a slacker. It makes zero sense.
Well, what's fascinating here is why management allowed this. And not just allowed it, but structurally encouraged this metric to completely take over.
Right, because these executives aren't stupid. There has to be a reason.
Exactly. If you dive into the organizational psychology detailed in the Robonomics report, you really see the core flaw in traditional performance reviews.
Which are notoriously terrible anyway.
Right. Evaluating a knowledge worker's actual output is incredibly slow. It's highly subjective. It requires human managers to, actually sit down, review code commits, evaluate architectural nuance.
And make a really complex judgment call, which takes time.
Exactly. It takes tons of time. But token consumption, that is real time. It is highly quantifiable.
Just a number on a screen.
Right. On an executive spreadsheet, it looks entirely objective. So the corporate evaluation metric fundamentally silently shifted from using AI well to simply using AI a lot.
Okay, I understand the perverse incentive there, but mechanically speaking, how is it even humanly possible to consume 210 billion tokens in a single week?
It's really hard to wrap your head around.
Because, even if you are copy-pasting War and Peace into a prompt window 20 hours a day, you still couldn't hit that kind of volume.
You couldn't. A human typing on a keyboard just can't do it. The sheer volume introduces the technological accelerant that makes tokenmaxxing possible in the first place, which is agentic AI.
Oh, okay, the agents.
Yeah. We're talking about sophisticated tools like Claude Code and OpenClaw. These aren't the standard chatbots from a few years ago where you type a question and wait for a paragraph in response.
Right, it's not ChatGPT in a browser window.
Exactly. These are systems designed to spawn swarms of autonomous agents.
So break down how that swarm actually operates for me, like when the engineer goes to sleep at 3 a.m.
Okay, so you give the master agent a high-level command.
Yeah.
Say, refactor this legacy authentication module.
A pretty standard but complex task.
Right. Now, the agent doesn't just write a script and stop. It reads your entire 100,000-line code base.
Wow.
And that's a massive hit of input tokens right there. Then it writes a piece of code. It actively runs that code in a sandbox environment. The code fails, because first drafts usually do.
Sure.
Normally, a human would stop, think, look at the error, and maybe read some documentation. The agent doesn't stop. It takes the original code base, adds the new error log to it, feeds all of that back into its context window, and just tries again.
Oh, I see. So the context window keeps growing.
Exactly. And it will run this loop 50 times a minute.
50 times a minute.
24 hours a day, endlessly chewing through massive amounts of input tokens for every single minor iteration.
So the human role has fully shifted. You're not a creator anymore.
No, you're a compute dispatcher.
You aren't a programmer. You're just the floor manager of a digital factory that literally never turns off.
That is a perfect way to put it.
And the executives at the very top are aggressively pushing this operational model. Like the TechCrunch data highlights a very specific pitch from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang at the GTC 2026 conference.
That was a huge moment for the industry.
Massive. He essentially proposed redefining human worth in the enterprise. He suggested that an engineer making, say, a $500,000 base salary should be assigned a $250,000 token budget.
Half their salary in compute.
Exactly. And Huang publicly stated he'd be deeply concerned and would officially issue a warning to any engineer who didn't burn through that entire compute budget.
Imagine getting a warning from HR because you didn't spend enough of the company's money on cloud compute.
It's wild. And the broader industry immediately followed suit. Tokens are now widely considered the fourth pillar of employee compensation.
Taking their place right alongside your base salary, your equity, and your annual cash bonus.
Yeah. This is a global structural change. Like, Chinese tech giants like Tencent and Alibaba are handing out massive token packages as sign-on perks to lure in talent.
Oh, and don't forget Xiaomi.
Right. At Xiaomi, internal memos showed a manager publicly threatening to fire employees who logged fewer than 100 AI interactions a day.
Just a totally forced quota.
Yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Yeah.
And frankly, a bit of a shell game for you, the worker.
How so?
Is a token budget actually a perk? Let's just think about the mechanics of wealth for a second. A token budget is a purely consumable asset.
Right, it vanishes.
If I don't use my tokens by the end of the quarter, they're gone. You can't retire on a history of burned API calls the way you can on cash or vested company equity. It feels like an elaborate illusion of wealth.
The financial analysts in these reports point out that exact structural asymmetry. Companies are using these massive token budgets to artificially inflate the total compensation number they dangle in front of recruits.
Right. It makes the offer look huge.
Exactly. It looks incredible on an offer letter like, hey, we're giving you a $750,000 total package.
But a third of that value is just server access.
Yep. Server access that you are required to spend on company projects, it actively suppresses your actual generational wealth accumulation.
Which is just brilliant from a corporate cost-saving perspective, but terrible for the worker.
And there is a darker irony embedded in this too. By constantly running these agentic swarms to hit your token quota, you are actively generating the high-quality, iterative training data for the very systems that are being designed to eventually replace you.
Oh, wow. You are literally training your own replacement.
Yes.
And you're thanking them for the privilege because it counts toward your total comp. That is bleak.
It's very bleak.
But let's follow the money here. Because if thousands of engineers are treating API calls like a limitless utility just to justify their existence, someone ultimately has to pay the server bill to Amazon or Microsoft at the end of the month.
Somebody's writing that check.
And the enterprise spending data we are seeing in these reports is genuinely terrifying.
It really is. And it's a classic economic phenomenon playing out in real time. This is a textbook example of the Jevons paradox.
Okay, remind everyone what the Jevons paradox is.
So historically, the economist William Stanley Jevons observed that making coal usage more efficient didn't actually decrease the amount of coal we consumed.
Right, you'd think better engines mean less coal.
Exactly, but it massively increased it because cheaper coal incentivized entirely new, wildly expansive uses for it.
Ah, so it just became ubiquitous.
Right. And we are seeing the exact same thing with compute. From 2022 to 2025, the price of tokens crashed by 98%, dropping down to about 40 cents per million tokens.
Basically free compared to what it was.
Yes. But total enterprise spending didn't drop. It skyrocketed.
Because the compute became so cheap, it incentivized this wildly unconstrained, inefficient agent usage we just talked about.
Exactly. The VentureBeat survey shows that 85% of companies are currently severely underestimating their actual AI infrastructure costs.
I mean, look at the internal AT&T disaster outlined in the corporate research.
Oh, that was a mess.
That was a total meltdown. They hit a wall where their systems were processing 80 billion tokens a day.
80 billion a day.
A day. Their traditional architecture involved routing every single minor internal request through these massive state-of-the-art flagship models.
Which is incredibly inefficient.
Right. The sheer volume of automated agents just talking to other automated agents completely broke their network latency and sent their operational costs into the stratosphere.
Or look at Vercel. Their internal tracking caught a single engineer burning $10,000 in actual company cash in a single day.
$10,000.
Just experimenting with letting a new agent run wild on a repository.
And when those massive bills come due, the human workforce is the shock absorber.
Unavoidably, yeah.
The reports detail a massive wave of what the industry is calling AI washing layoffs. And we want to look at this impartially, based purely on the data provided by the sources.
Right, just looking at the numbers.
Meta, for example, cut 20% of its workforce. The stated corporate goal was to help fund a $135 billion AI infrastructure bet.
Which is an astronomical sum of money.
Yeah. Leadership explicitly noted that their heavy AI users were 80% more productive, which allowed for this quote-unquote capital redirection.
Meaning firing people to buy servers.
Exactly. Block cut 40% of its staff, openly redirecting the payroll savings straight into token purchasing power.
They are quite literally trading human salaries for API compute bills.
But hold on, I have a major issue with this premise.
I agree. What is it?
If these agents are running unconstrained loops 50 times a minute just to fix, like, missing commas, the resulting code base must be an absolute Frankenstein monster of patched-together logic. If companies are trading off human talent to pay for this, are they actually getting better quality work? Or are they just generating automated garbage at light speed?
It's a really valid question.
I mean, how are CTOs not hitting the emergency brake when they look at the output?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the data reveals they are starting to notice.
Yeah.
And it's triggering a massive quality crisis.
A quality crisis, okay.
The reports show that large-scale AI output is deeply suffering from what's called typicality bias.
Typicality bias, what does that mean in this context?
Because these massive models operate by predicting the most statistically likely next token, Their output, by definition, trends toward the mathematical average.
Oh, I see. It's just regressing to the mean.
Exactly. It becomes incredibly bland, highly predictable, and it lacks the creative deviation or elegant problem solving that elite human engineers provide.
It's just aggressively mediocre.
Yes. And on top of that, hallucination rates in complex documentation and literature generation have jumped to 25%.
Wait, really? A quarter of the dense technical work is just confidently fabricated.
Yes, 25%. And the success rate for first-time task completion is actively dropping across the board.
Because the models are just getting confused by their own complexity.
Pretty much. The agents generate massive volumes of redundant, slightly flawed code. The compute is cheap, but the system is generating so much technical debt that human engineers are spending hours untangling and fixing the automated spaghetti code.
That sounds absolutely exhausting. You're no longer building anything new, you're just cleaning up after a tireless machine.
Constantly.
Which pivots us perfectly to the human cost of all this.
Yeah.
Because the financial numbers are clearly unsustainable. But the psychological toll on the knowledge workers trapped in this gamified system is genuinely dark.
It's really grim reading.
The reports use a specific clinical term for this. They call it token anxiety.
Yeah, token anxiety. It is the constant looming dread that if your AI agents aren't running in the background, you are wasting time.
You're falling behind your peers on the leaderboard.
Exactly. And you'll be the one targeted in the next round of those AI washing layoffs. It has completely warped the social fabric of Silicon Valley.
How so? Like the day-to-day culture.
Yeah. Casual greetings in the office have shifted from, what project are you working on, to how many agents do you have running right now?
Wow. The research even brings up this concept of AI psychosis or brain fry.
Brain fry, yeah. It's a very real phenomenon.
They cite Andrej Karpathy, the co-founder of OpenAI, and he is arguably one of the most elite programmers on Earth, right?
Absolutely. Top tier.
He admitted in an interview that he hasn't written a single line of code himself since December 2025.
Not one line.
Instead, he spends 16 hours a day just prompting agents. He described his own nervous system as being trapped in a constant fight-or-flight loop because of the instant, high-speed feedback the AI provides.
Mechanically, what's happening to his brain is a profound neurological shift. The human brain simply did not evolve to interact with a system that provides complex, iterative feedback in milliseconds, 16 hours a day.
We just aren't wired for it.
Not at all. When you write code yourself, there is a natural rhythm of thought, execution, and review. You take a breath.
Right.
With a swarm of agents, you are the sole bottleneck for 10,000 microscopic decisions. It hijacks your dopamine cycle, and it turns the use of a productivity tool into an obsessive, compulsive behavior.
Just to maintain your identity and status in the workplace.
Exactly.
It's not just a digital hamster wheel. It's like being an air traffic controller for a million drones, and you are absolutely terrified to blink.
Because if you miss one thing, it crashes.
Right. Because if you stop frantically clicking approve, the wheel stops spinning, your token burn rate drops, and you lose your job.
It is a state of perpetual cognitive overload. And it's entirely unsustainable economically for the companies footing the AWS bills and psychologically for the humans managing the swarms.
We clearly can't keep bankrupting enterprise companies with $10,000 a day unconstrained experiments.
No, the VCs won't allow it much longer.
And we certainly can't keep frying human brains with token anxiety. We need a structural way out. How are the smart organizations and those resilient employees actually fixing this?
Well, the antidote, according to the deeply researched Robonomics report, requires a fundamental shift in how we measure corporate value.
Okay, what's the shift?
Management has to stop measuring the cost per million tokens, the dollar per mTikTok metric.
Because that's what drives the waste.
Right. It is deeply misleading, and it creates the exact perverse incentives we've discussed. Organizations have to transition to measuring the dollar per task.
Dollar per task. Let's apply that to a real-world scenario. What does dollar per task look like in practice for an engineering team?
Okay, it relies on a framework called the reliability adjusted cost per task.
That's a mouthful.
It is. But let's say you decide to use a cheap, low reliability AI model to perform a coding task. It only succeeds 70% of the time.
Okay, so a 30% failure rate.
Exactly. Now, the raw compute cost for those tokens is literally pennies. It looks great on a spreadsheet. But because it fails 30% of the time, a senior human engineer has to step in, read the garbage output, debug it, and fix it.
Which takes hours.
Yes. When you factor in the hourly rate of that human labor, that task actually costs the company $50. The human-to-token cost ratio becomes a staggering 500 to 1.
Oh, wow. So the cheap, high-volume token burn is actually a massive financial trap.
Exactly. It's a false economy. Now, compare that to an expensive, high-reliability flagship model.
The premium ones.
Right. The tokens might cost 5 times as much upfront, but it succeeds 95% of the time.
So the human doesn't have to intervene as much.
Exactly, because you almost entirely eliminate the expensive human debugging intervention. The total holistic cost for that task drops from $50 down to just $8.
50 down to 8. That is a massive operational difference.
Huge.
And this shift in architecture is exactly how AT&T fixed their 80 billion token a day meltdown, right?
Yes, that's exactly what they did.
The reports show they achieved a 90% cost reduction by moving away from routing every single query to the massive, expensive models.
Right. They built a tiered architecture.
They set up a super agent-like, a highly capable management AI that takes a big complex task, breaks it down into small logical pieces, and routes those pieces to cheap, highly specialized small language models, or SLMs.
And they also heavily utilized a technical mechanism called prompt caching, which is crucial here.
Oh, explain prompt caching.
Normally, every time an agent loops, it is paying to read the entire encyclopedic code base from scratch.
Over and over again.
Right. Prompt caching essentially pins that massive context window in the GPU's active memory.
Oh, so it remembers it.
Exactly. So when the agent loops, you only pay the compute cost to process the new incremental instruction rather than rereading the whole book every single time.
That's just so much smarter.
It is elegant, it is highly efficient, and it prioritizes the actual success of the task over the sheer volume of the compute.
Make the task work, don't just burn the gas.
Right. But this raises an important question, though. How should you, the listener, the employee, actually navigating this landscape, adapt to this shift?
Right. Because if you are sitting at your desk right now, looking at your own company's AI dashboards, you're probably realizing you're playing a rigged game.
You really are.
If your boss is still handing out silver medals for burning tokens, how do you protect your career?
The experts in the Robonomics report advise that you must proactively build a task perspective.
Meaning what, exactly?
You have to refuse to play the game of being the person who burns the most tokens. Instead, become the person who brings your manager actionable data.
Oh, bring your own metrics.
Exactly. Build your own dashboard. Go to leadership and say, hey, here's my cost per successful task. Look how much expensive human repair time my specific workflow is saving this company compared to the leaderboard chasers.
You have to transition your perceived value from being a mindless compute burner to being an efficiency architect.
Yes, that is the only way to survive the transition.
So what does this all mean for you tomorrow morning? It means establishing strict governance over your own digital life and your workflows.
Don't just let the agents run wild.
Right. It means understanding exactly how your token budgets actually function and refusing to let raw, uncontextualized AI metrics replace your actual creative human value.
You have to stubbornly treat AI compute as a tool.
A means to an end.
Yes, rather than a status symbol that defines your worth in the office.
Yeah.
Because the current paradigm of token maxing is ultimately a transitional glitch.
It's a phase.
Right. It is an incredibly painful growing pain in the evolution of the knowledge economy as we figure out how to integrate infinite logic engines into finite human systems.
It's a bumpy ride.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick recap of the journey we've taken today. We started in a corporate world gone mad, with gamified leaderboards and 210 billion token weeks driven by unconstrained agentic swarms.
Total chaos.
We looked at the harsh economic realities of the Jevons paradox and AI washing layoffs, where companies traded actual human salaries to pay Amazon server bills.
Yeah, laying off humans to buy compute.
We explored the devastating psychological toll of brain fry, token anxiety, and a nervous system trapped in a millisecond dopamine loop.
Which is terrifying.
And finally, we arrived at the rational antidote. Shifting our entire metric of value from tokens to successful tasks, using smart architecture to bring sanity back to the workplace.
You really need to protect your mental space as this transition happens. Do not let the infinite speed of the machine dictate the finite rhythm of your mind.
That is great advice. Now, to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over. The sources referenced a theoretical vision from OpenAI's Sam Altman regarding where all of this immense compute is actually heading.
Yeah, his long-term vision.
He theorized that the ultimate future isn't about UBI, universal basic income. He believes the future is universal basic compute.
A society where every citizen is given an AI token allowance as a fundamental human right.
Computing power becoming the literal foundational currency of society.
It shifts everything we know about economics.
Exactly. So I'm going to leave you with this question. If computing power truly becomes the fundamental currency of society, completely ubiquitous and incredibly cheap, will true luxury in the future be the ability to disconnect, go completely offline, and rely entirely on unaugmented, purely human thought?